My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Christian Stutzig from Christian Stutzig Records, titled Believe It or Not. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen, and we're going to listen through it on YouTube from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Apparently this track encompasses overarching themes of a lot of Christian's tunes, so it'll be good to hear how they all come together, you know?
It's one of those nights again, and I can't stop thinking about you in my mind. You think I don't miss you at all? I'd give anything to have you with me. I pray many prayers for this wish to be fulfilled, but it's God and not me. He has a final say.
I mean, I think that it sounds great with the combination of, you know, the organs, the guitars, etc. You know, the drums and the bass, and the vocals are sounding pretty good. He's got some clear vocal technique now. It's really developed well over time.
I'm struggling now for so long, but life goes on. All I wish for is having you by my side. Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted. I'm struggling now for so long, but life goes on. All I wish for is having you by my side. Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted.
Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted. Yeah, I think we're talking about someone who Christian has had feelings for quite a while. And those feelings haven't gone away. They've continued, and they have ruminated throughout the discography of a lot of recent songs. And I think it's good to explore it and really help to understand yourself and where you are with everything else going on with your
I
life.
hate not having you with me, and this idea that you're lying with another man. I never meant for this to happen, and yet I couldn't believe.
Just gonna check something really quickly. Just my green screen playing up. It's always a fun thing to find halfway through a video, you know?
I don't want you to be happy, oh, with someone else.
Got a little bit of that Backstreet Boys late 90s vibe here with those runs.
What can I do? I'm struggling now for so long, but life goes on. All I wish for is having you by my side. Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted. I'm struggling now for so long, but life goes on. All I wish for is having you by my side. Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted.
Nice use of an additional instrumental break there, that last part at the end, accompanied with the strings there, which were nice and fragrant. I enjoy it. I enjoy the sound of what we're going on here with the song composition as well, with those strings adding a sense of emotional weight to it. There's a sense of sadness, but also of acceptance of the fact that we're not going to get that time back, and it's just what it is. The organ's charming though, for real.
And I can't stop it now. If you don't wanna be with me, what's left for me? I've tried everything to have you with me. I'm struggling.
I mean, what can you do, right?
For so long, but life goes on. All I wish for is having you by my side. Believe it or not, you're now for
piano arpeggios. Nice.
But life goes on. All I wish for is heaven. You by my side. Believe it or not, you're all I ever wanted. I couldn't stop it then, and I can stop it now. If you don't wanna be with me, what's left for me? I've tried everything to have you with me.
It's charming to have that at the end with the little bells. No complaints in mind. I think that's great. I genuinely think it's very well done. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track by an actor named Christian Stutzig of a song called Believe It or Not. What do I think this track is about? I think I've already spoken about it within the crux of this. I think that it's basically about someone who has had feelings for someone for quite a long time, and they're kind of coming to terms with the fact that maybe it just isn't going to work out. They're just not going to get there. They really desperately want that connection there. They want to have that with someone, but they just cannot let go of that opportunity that they may or may not have had to make something happen of it. So it's where they are now. That's basically what I think that track is about. I think in addition to that, on top of what's going on with the storytelling, Christian... His vocals, the vocals in here sounded great. I'm unsure if it was Christian or not, because sometimes Christian gets other singers on board, but basically the singer on here was good. They had a great sort of R&B-ish, kind of late 90s Backstreet Boys-ish kind of groove going on with some of the hidden chest voice, legato passages, etc. It sounded more like they're trying to sort of like seduce the person they were singing to, if that makes sense. There was a bit of sadness to the tone of it. Emotionally, it was appropriate. I think that had a great sort of depth to it. I don't really see any massive complaints with that. I think, but with the vocal technique sorted, and I think with the authenticity within the performance itself, emotionally, I don't really think you could have asked for more than this. I think that it was a great balance between sort of being authentic to what the song was about via the story, and also illustrating a clear understanding of vocal technique and having lots of interesting sort of melody lines there, whilst retaining the similarity with the repetition of the whole hook lines in the choruses and stuff like that. We had enough development there vocally, but it never really took away. It became an ego project. It was more about balancing out what was going on with the rest of the track, because with the track itself being 4 minutes 47, you really cannot afford to can't afford to sleep on having other instruments kind of picking up and keeping things going in a way that is kind of captivating for that time period. Like when you get out of the 4 minute space, you really are running the gauntlet of, is this actually going to keep people like interested? Am I going to actually be able to make it the whole way without losing people through like a lack of diversity with the different like chord progressions of bass lines, different instrumental parts, etc. But I think that Christian incorporated the organs, which had like a homely kind of warm, comforting sort of tone to them, with the notes or triads there, with the piano playing, again, their own sort of triads and harmonies, but also arpeggiating later on in the track, which is really pretty and adds a little bit of extra development in our last outro and our last chorus. I think that the bass line was nice and full there, it rolled with the root notes and kind of stuck with those for the most part without too much flirtation away from that. The guitars, the guitars were well done. I think that they were strummed nicely and were a nice extra bit of mid to high range kind of content for the track. I don't think we added necessarily a lot more to that with them, but I don't think we necessarily needed to. There was already a lot else going on. And then the drums, of course, I think with the drums we had like a set kind of fill that we were playing for most of the time. I don't know whether that's a blessing or a curse, to be honest. I feel like you could have potentially put some extra drum fills in there or something like that to kind of spice up, add a bit of variety to it. But aside from that, I think it's good. With the drums keeping the groove going, the rest of the instruments kind of adding and niching well with that, and the vocals kind of sitting on top in a way that's really like nice and pleasing. You basically just have the studio recording, mixing, and mastering, the music production there, and I think that ultimately, with the track gradually developing over time to a point where something extra came in light with those aforementioned piano arpeggios to kind of sparkle things up in the latter half, I really don't think you could have really added anything else without it being a detriment. And I think that the studio production reflected the relative minimalism there of the actual individual parts by articulating them in a way that didn't allow for a lot of flexibility. Like The drums had a same sort of similar tone that was kept right with the groove. The pianos and the organs were notched on the frequency spectrum without a lot of low resonance there, which would have interfered with some of the other bassist elements, for example, with the bass being nicely controlled. The guitars double tracked on the sides. The vocal was nice and present in the middle without very few harmonies here. We didn't want to sort of like oversaturate or overcomplicate it. And then finally, we just had there was dynamic range to the track, so things weren't the same loudness all the time, though things were nicely controlled with compression and such. It was nice to know that pumping, so limiting compression was handled. And I just think in general, like if this is a closing comment, and I'll probably be chatting to Christian about this if I get the opportunity, I think we've actually gotten to a point where Christian, after doing like 20 or so reviews of his songs, I think we're probably at a point where Christian's good for now. I've reviewed a lot of his material, and at the start there were some rough edges that we've sawed out and kind of like polished as we went on. I think Christian is a point now where if I was to review more of his stuff, it'd be similar comments. There's no glaring inadequacies. There's nothing there that I think could really be adjusted. And anything else I've pointed out, I kind of get a feel for the scope of Christian's work at this point. So I feel like anything extra is simply going to be up to his own volition. So I don't know if we'll be reviewing more of Christian's stuff, but because I think he's fine. I think he's kind of got the hang of it. And occasionally as a reviewer, I do review enough of people's music to kind of get a gauge of, I think we're in a happy place now. Usually I encourage people to send through material to me for them to kind of figure out if it's good or not, for someone to kind of analyze it and actually give constructive, honest feedback on it from a musical perspective. And luckily, the vast majority of stuff I get sent through is good, because the people who send it through don't want to get their shit kicked in by someone who's actually going to tell them if it's not good. But Christian's stuff is fine. Ultimately, I think we're in a really great place with it. So if this is the last review for Christian for the foreseeable future, Christian, I just want to say thank you for sending through your music. It's been a great time. I've enjoyed it. I wish you the best of luck in your musical endeavors. And this is effectively my review. And just before we go, I hope we do find a sense of closure with the situation we've had with this person that we've been singing about. I hope we can find closure with that and find a place where we're happy and we're comfortable with everything, and we can find happiness and peace within ourselves and the world around us in a way that is something we can continue on with for like the rest of our life. But effectively, this is my review of this track from Christian Stutzig, from Christian Stutzig Records, Data, believe it or not. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show him some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spider Hands out.